Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the State of Africa podcast. Um, Today, I am joined by Grace Usenge. On this podcast, we sit with Africans from different parts of Africa, different parts of the continent, and the diaspora to reflect on where we've been, where we are, and where we are going. To understand each other as different cultures, different countries, we need to have an understanding of each other and then imagine a better future for the continent. So today I'm joined by Grace Usenge, like I just mentioned. Grace, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me. I really appreciate taking your time out to do this. Grace is
My
an
pleasure.
entrepreneur. Grace is a mentor working across businesses in Africa and across the African creative economy. Grace is the founder and the CEO of Ayana Handmade, a Nairobi-based natural hair and skincare brand creating high-quality, handcrafted products made specifically for African women. Grace also co-founded Kuza Africa, where she empowers aspiring fashion and creative entrepreneurs in Africa. Alongside this, Grace mentors early-stage founders with Bridge for Billions and Sustain Launch Labs, supporting impact-driven and circular economy startups. She has also contributed to youth-focused strategy as a member of the Mastercard Foundation Youth Advisory Panel, helping shape initiatives within the African creative economy. So, Grace, once again, welcome to the State of Africa podcast.
Thank you.
So, I'm just going to dive right in. As someone who is from Kenya, right? What's your favorite thing about being, first of all, Kenyan, then being African?
My favorite thing about being African, it's our rich culture and our rich history. It risks dilution a little bit, but it's still rich. We have rich culture, rich history, and I think we are still one of the few people on earth that still have a sense of community. I mean, just look at how our weddings or our funerals are attended. Majority of those people, you'll find that as the organizer, you don't even know them. So for me, it's our strong sense of oneness, community, and our rich culture. We uh, we are 54 countries in Africa, but then there's this one distinct the it's quite clear how to pick out an African, out of a crowd. We are very colorful. Yes, so I really love that about
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Africa. Yeah.
How about being Kenyan?
About being Kenyan, I'm allowed to brag, right? Um, we
I
have
know. Feel
we
free.
have a we always wear our Kenyan bracelet. I'm not wearing it right now, but I almost always have it. Which reminds me of where I come from, and it fills me with a sense of pride for my roots. So, my favorite thing about
Mm,
being Kenyan is our confidence. We don't, of course, shout it from the rooftops, but we are a very confident people and very entrepreneurial. Very entrepreneurial. Uh, we
mm.
we start things and we see them, to the end. We are very determined. So I really love that about Kenyan. We always like to be on the go, not just, sit around when you can, craft solutions for problems around us. So I really love that spirit. The confidence and the entrepreneurial spirit that we have. You're always on the go. Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine because when you talk about Africa, a lot of people they'll think Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and then maybe Ghana. But I know those three are usually in the conversation anytime we're talking about Africa. So I'm not surprised by you asking, am I allowed to brag? Because I know Kenyans too. Kenyans, South Africans, they brag a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised that you said that. So what are some things you say? What are some things you say that you guys are really proud of as Kenyans? If I'm to mention one thing,
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably say athletics, because Kenyans are always at the
Ah,
forefront of athletics, whether it's
yeah.
running 5,000 meters, marathon. Yeah.
Uh, I think I refer back to what I mentioned in my first comment. It's our hustle culture. It's our hustle culture, our creativity and innovation. I'm quite
Mm,
sure by now you've already heard about M-Pesa. You know what M-Pesa is, yeah? Yeah. So it's
yeah,
our
yeah, yeah.
innovation, and we are a leader in mobile money. I mean, on this planet, yeah. So it's that our innovation and our hustle culture. Kenyans know how to hustle. We know how to start small and scale.
Mm.
Sometimes these ventures fail, but sometimes they scale, and that's something I'm really proud of. We know how to fit something out of nothing, and okay, maybe not to jump the rope, but I see how different it is when you know, I visit other countries on the continent, and they recognize that about Kenyans as well. That we, yeah, we don't sit around. I think we share that with Nigerians. Yeah.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that. Except the fact that they call Nigerians loud people. So Nigerians may be
Oh yeah,
hustlers,
you
but they're also
win.
very loud. So yeah, like when Nigeria is in the room.
Mhm. Oh yeah, Nigerians win when
So
it
when a
comes
Nigerian
to
is in,
to being
it's
loud on
always
the
like, oh
continent.
my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. We
Nigerians
talk
are
too
loud.
much and
Yeah.
we are so loud.
No, in a good way. They add color
So
to our culture. Yeah.
yeah, all right. Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. Because
Mhm.
there's that distinct, what will I call it now? So you know that if a Kenyan is here or a Nigerian is here, you can always identify them. So that's where they
Yeah,
stand out. So I agree
yeah,
with
that's
you.
right.
So if someone from another country now were to visit you guys, where would you take them? I'm not talking about like maybe someone that's popping or popular. I mean, if just to communicate the essence of being a Kenyan, where will you take such a person?
I'll check them where? To a local cafe, number one. I'll take them to a local cafe so they experience the cuisine, how we are loud when we eat. We are not quiet even when eating. You're talking to someone when eating. Yeah, when eating. I'd also take them to experience our public transport. We call them matatus. Oh wow. Um, yeah, it's
Machachu. Really? Hmm.
matatu. Yes, we call them matatu. Each one you get into is different. Sometimes you get into one and you're like, did I enter a club? All the lights, and some have loud music. Some you find a tablet on your seat or in front of your seat with Wi-Fi. Yeah, e- each of them, even me right now, when I enter Matatu, anytime I enter Matatu, I'm like, oh my God, where am I? So I'd take them to experience our local transport, apart from a local cafe. Where else? Perhaps a co-working space to also experience that other side of the culture, how we actually interact in a corporate in a corporate scene, sort of, and maybe a local market. Mhm. Yeah, so local cafe, public
Mm,
transport, a co-working space, and a local market, and maybe a national park. We have a national park in Nairobi, so that way they'll experience
mm.
both worlds, yet both worlds in one within Nairobi. That is, yeah.
Interesting. So your local transport has tablets. Did you say tablet like tablets? Electronic tablets?
Yes, yes. Not all of them, some of them. And these ones focus
Wow.
on
Yeah.
people who are in a hurry to get to work and probably they need to get some work done before they reach the office. Yes, yeah. So there are some
Wow.
with first class and then the rest of the economy. So in first class you'll find a tablet. Almost all of them have a TV, a flat screen, a big one, all around, either at the front or at the front end, on the side. It's very lively. It's very vibrant. It's very vibrant.
That's very
Yeah,
interesting. I find that really interesting because you have to be
yeah,
you have to be a high trust society to have like an electronic tablet in your
hmm
public transport. Because I
hmm
imagine if you have that, people probably will just take it and dip and run away with it. You get so having that just sitting in local transport
yeah,
is really, really impressive. Wow. Kudos to the people of
yeah.
Kenya. If you are Kenyan and you are listening to this, kudos to you people for
Thank
doing that.
you.
So, which African country do you guys feel closest to, culturally or historically?
Um, it has to be Tanzania and Uganda. I hope I can refer to both, but it's both of them. We share the
Yeah,
language. For
yeah.
example, we share Swahili with Tanzania, and then yeah, we share language, food, history with both of them. And even though, yeah, we tease each other a lot, just like cousins or siblings who tease each other, but then we understand each other very deeply. I think I see the same kind of teasing between Ghana and Nigeria as well. So the teasing also exists
Yes, yes.
between Kenya and Uganda, and then also
Hmm.
between Kenya and Tanzania. So I'd say both culturally and historically, those two we share a lot, and yeah, we also share a border. Yes, so those two we love each other, but then there is a lot of
So,
teasing as well.
eh, playful siblings.
Hmm hmm
Yeah, like, yeah. So, I imagine it's like you said, between Nigeria and Ghana and the jollof rice and all those things. There's just always so much noise between. I don't even understand. By now, people should understand that Nigeria has the better jollof rice, but because of the banter, we still find a way to bring it back into conversation. So yeah, I understand that
hmm
perfectly. So up till now, I'm sure there are some things that um how would I put it now? Maybe like there are foods you guys share, there are maybe artifacts or something that up till now, is there like a language similarity between Kenya and Tanzania or Uganda?
Yeah, between Kenya and Uganda, there's a similarity in language among the Bantu speaking people, and I think it's
Hmm.
all over East Africa and
Okay.
part of Southern Africa. Yeah, so you'll find someone who is a Bantu speaker in Kenya is able to understand what someone in Uganda is speaking in Luganda. Yes, they are able to understand each other, and I also saw this
Oh, okay.
in Rwanda. I also saw this in Rwanda. Um, you find a Bantu
Oh,
speaker from Kenya is able to understand what a Rwandan speaking Kinyarwanda is saying. Yeah. So
Right. That's really interesting. How easy is it to move from maybe so Kenya and Uganda shares sorry Kenya and Uganda they share a border, yeah? Is it Kenya and Uganda? Is it Kenya and
Yes.
Uganda or Kenya and Tanzania? Which one? Or is it both of them? You share a border with both of them?
Yeah, we share border with both Uganda and Tanzania.
Oh, okay, okay. So how easy is it to move like from Kenya to either one of them? Is it easy or is it one of these African things that moving around is very hard?
Oh, it's very easy. It's very easy because they form part of the EAC, East African Community. So it's easy to move between Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi as well. Yeah, it's seamless. You only need to show your yellow fever card if you're traveling by road, and you don't need to have a passport. You can use your national ID
Mm,
uh, to both of to both of them. No, except Tanzania, I think you need to have a passport, or I think it's called like some paper for people who are just if you don't have it, if you don't have a passport, there's something they give you. So it's easy. And then for Uganda, it's how many hours away? Like around 8 hours from the closest city. Yeah, it's easy. It's very easy simply because we are
wow,
part of the EAC. Yeah, but that's movement of people.
wow.
Movement of capital is is different.
Different. I mean, since you've mentioned that, we can as well just talk about that now. So like movement of capital um is quite difficult. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. So movement of people within East Africa easy, but movement of capital or of ideas. Let's say me as a Kenyan, I want to go and start a business in Tanzania. Yeah, it's not easy. It's way more difficult than it should be, to be honest. Or any other, African national coming to Kenya, it's way more difficult than it should be. There are several barriers, structural barriers that exist that shouldn't exist. For example, even if you're within ESC and you want to do business in Kenya, the amount of money you're required to pay upfront, I think it's $3,000 just to register your company. You know, so that makes it very difficult
Wow.
to set up in Kenya as a foreigner. Um, and I yeah. And it's the same when you go to. I haven't tried to set up a business in Uganda, but definitely it's the same. I know it's the same. For Tanzania, there is a trust gap between Tanzanians and Kenyans. They think we are crafty, so it makes it difficult for us. There's some truth in it, you know. Yeah, so it makes it difficult for us to do business in Tanzania. the only country that the only African country I've been to where it's easy to do business as a foreigner and you're very welcome as a foreigner is Rwanda. It's Rwanda. Yeah, registering a company in Rwanda as a foreigner is
Mhm.
free, and within 24 hours you have your company. The kind of tax um regime
Wow.
you are under, yeah, is the same as what uh a Rwandan would be under. Yeah, there's no different treatment whether you're a foreigner or Rwandan. All of you are the same. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the environment is really
Mhm.
conducive for business in Rwanda. Setting up seamless, seamless. I wish the rest of us African countries can follow suit.
Right? I mean, how I wish it was like that for a lot of African countries. And that's how you see, that's how you know a government that is actually thinking about things, right? Because when you look at
Yes.
the government of Rwanda, they are very deliberate about it, because if you mention
Mm-hmm.
$3,000, did you say $3,000?
Yeah, $3,000 as a foreigner, even if you're just from next door Uganda, just to register your business.
Wow, that's outrageous. That is
Yeah,
outrageous. I mean,
you haven't
wow.
paid tax yet
So
at
I
that
can
point.
imagine, kudos to Rwanda.
Yeah,
Without tax, without anything, just to set up a business, $3,000. Even
yeah,
even
yeah.
just about that, so there needs to be a protest. Just about that. It's just that foreigners cannot come to your country and protest because it's not their country. And I wonder what the motive is,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, okay, a foreigner wants to come into your country to set up a business. So are you making it harder for
Mm-hmm.
them to set up a business so as to protect your own people, or what? Because I'm trying to figure out the motive, because there's an idea that foreigners usually foreigners will come into a country and then dominate the landscape. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe the motive about that is, let us make it difficult for them. But at the end of the day, you're stifling yourself. You're stifling your own economy by hindering other people from setting up businesses, even though that business benefit your own economy. So I don't know what the motive is. I wonder
Yeah.
what the motive is.
I I I I don't know either, cause um I mean Rwanda is doing it. They have the future in mind. It's working. Anyone coming to set up a company in Rwanda, even if you're a foreigner, in one way or another, you're adding value to the economy. So yeah, uh, I'm
Yeah,
really not a politician or a policy maker to know the motivation behind it, but
I
I
mean,
wish
I,
I
at
wish,
this point, we
I
have to
wish
be
it was easier.
at this point. I mean, some of us have to be policymakers, because these things are just, they are unreasonable. And you wonder why Rwanda is growing at such a pace. Is because of things like this. Because as small as they
Yeah.
are, they are making a lot of progress. And it's as something as
Hmm.
something as little as, okay, foreigners coming into your own land, and it's very easy for them to set up a business. It's because of things like this. So within 24
Yeah.
hours, you can set up a business in Rwanda and you just get going. That's
In fact, it's six
wow.
hours.
When we talk about
Uh,
these things,
the the
sometimes it's
ex-
just depressing.
yeah. Mm. It's yeah. I hope it gets better.
Wait, I heard you
Did you
said
say
it's
something?
it's 6 hours. It is 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 6 hours. I'm just saying 24. Just to add an 18-hour buffer, but it's normally 6 hours. Within 6 hours,
Okay, just
you have your company, even as a foreigner. Yeah.
oh,
Even as a foreigner, and you're paying nada. You're paying zero.
uh,
Yeah. I've registered companies
wow.
in Rwanda. And you do it digitally. You're not going to any physical office. You're doing digitally. So long as you have your passport, you're good to go.
And the funny thing, even because of that, there's going to be a lot more. You would want to go there a lot more because it's easy for you to set up
Hmm.
businesses. So in your mind, you're like, well, it is easy. If I do this, I can set up a business. So let me just go there and do it right away. And that is where
Yeah.
it's you're being drawn to Rwanda because of that as a business person. Wow. So from your experience, what feels similar across entrepreneurs across Africa? Are there some things you've looked at and you're like, this is similar to what I've seen here? It's similar to what I've seen here. Is there anything like that?
Mhm. Um, yeah, absolutely. We are generally resourceful as Africans. Everyone is building in a system that's broken somehow. and yet we share that sense of resilience and determination and creativity. That is similar. Even though, yes, I say, Kenyans or Nigerians, we have that hustle culture. I've seen it exist in Uganda, in Burundi, Rwanda, in Senegal, So it exists everywhere, and everyone is somehow managing or trying to manage to build in a system that's broken. So yeah, irrespective of the country, really, we share that resilience and resourcefulness. We build big, whether big or small, with very little, and in a system that is designed to work against us most of the time. So that's really admirable.
Yeah.
That's very admirable. Yeah.
And it's quite unfortunate that the so it's like a chicken and egg situation, because you're wondering, is it because the systems work against us that we're resilient, or are we naturally resilient but then the system is working against us? Either way, we are very resilient people as Africans. It's just unfortunate that the system is working against us. And despite that, there are people who still find a way to make it out. It's just that I think personally that a lot more people will be able to do great things if the systems were in place, like if the right systems were in place.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's the hope of that's the hope we have, better Africa, and hopefully we get there one day, because we just have to. We just have that resilience is still what is going to get us to that place. So my next question then would be: is there any particular experience that drove you to this, like working with founders, working with women? Is there a particular experience that moved you in this direction, or is this just something you had an affinity for?
Yeah, absolutely. After I got into business, uh, that was my first attempt was in 2017. My first attempt at business. Um, so after venturing into the business world, I saw how there's little support, especially for beginning founders, or like
Yeah,
for the youth, for younger business owners, and also for women. And I was determined. I was like, once I have my system working and stable, I really want to be able to handhold other people, whether they're okay, focusing mostly on women and youth, to handhold them, and just make them feel like it's it's a lonely journey, but you don't have to do this alone. So that um, motivated me to enter into mentoring. Actually, volunteer as a mentor. I don't get paid as a mentor. I volunteer my time. If there's any little value I can add to a venture to make it become unstuck, yeah, I find that really really fulfilling.
yeah,
And with regards to women, it's also the little support women generally have. Yo, if you look at the statistics, only I think it's less than 3% of global funding go to women-led um, ventures. So 97%
yeah.
go to men. What kind of iniquity is that? Like it's so yo, I don't even have the words. So yeah, that also really really pushed me towards the direction of women, and I think I do it um unconsciously, or is it subconsciously, when I go to the market and there's a man and a woman selling the
Yeah.
same thing. I want to buy from that woman because perhaps she's a single mother, um, or has many children that depend on her. So whatever way I can do to support a woman, whether from buying from her or imparting knowledge into her, yeah, I go for it full 100% without a doubt. So yeah, the experience have been, yeah. those kind of experiences.
So this idea of empowering women, right? I'm sure we've heard it a lot of times. We want to empower women across Africa or in specific countries. From your own perspective, what do we get wrong in empowering women across the continent? What are those things that we, in trying to empower women, we get
Hmm.
it wrong?
Hmm. There's a lot of motivation and inspiration that we actually do not need. You know, we've had enough of motivation and inspiration, and we are empowering women. Yes, the talks are there. We are empowering women. We are empowering women, but why are we not seeing the empowerment actually working in the system? Why are we still not getting a fair chance at financing? If you're really empowering women, why are we not getting a fair chance at financing? Why does a woman have to go back to work just 3 weeks after childbirth? She hasn't even healed. Like, what nonsense is that? So we need the systems to work for us. We are done with the inspiration and the motivation, and just using women as data. You're just checking boxes of a donor list, or to receive funding. Let's actually see that empowerment working for us in the system. You know. Yeah. So we get that aspect from of motivating women. Let's actually do something about it rather than talking about it.
Uh, so it still goes back to the doing. I mean, one of my conversations recently spoke about how Africa, there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of caring, there's a lot of intention, but there's very little doing. And granted that there are many people who are trying to do stuff, right? But then it still goes back to the systems that work against people who are trying to do stuff. It confuses me, honestly, just
Mm-hmm.
bothers me. But in our own little way, we can always try to do our best to counter these things, because we can't sit back and look at
Mm-hmm.
them and just watch how things get destroyed on a daily basis.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and
let's. I want to
yeah.
ask
If
now. Let's. Okay. Okay. Talk. Alright.
uh, I wanted to add a point or an example. For example, there is just last week there was a new environmental policy by our national environmental authority, um to curb waste, to try and manage waste, and and to do this they added 20% towards the cost of diapers and the cost of sanitary towels. Who is being targeted? Who is being burdened with that cost? So it's going to deepen period poverty. It's going to deepen childcare costs, and it's already in effect. It was in effect on February 3rd. So these things just widen that gap. You know, it makes it makes it harder for women
Yeah.
to actually thrive economically. Yeah, because something like sanitary towels, it's it's natural. Like, it's not something you decide to do or not to do. In fact, they should be free, just like we have free condoms. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but adding 20% to that,
Yeah.
and to diapers and to detergent, yeah, it's just widening that gap. We have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. A long way to go.
We have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. I totally agree, because I'm hearing that. I'm like, okay, so you have identified the problem, and that is the solution that you have to that problem. Like, seriously, how do you even how do you even come about that kind of solution? It makes no sense.
Yeah, yeah. Clearly, no woman was sitting at that decision-making table. It's very clear. It's very clear. You solve a problem with another problem.
Do you get it? Oh my God. Ah, no, 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 no. Oh,
Yeah.
Africa, Africa. Oh my God. No way, no way. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, how do you come up with that kind of solution to that problem?
At some point, the young people, we young people, we have to find a way to get into policy, even if it's not politics, but advocating for policies way more proactively, um, perhaps than we are doing currently. Um, yeah, if you have to go back to school, study policy design, policy implementation, let's do that and be seated together, with the policymakers, so that we can also guide them, because it shows that there's people are out of touch with the reality on the ground. So if yeah, it's I think it's
Honestly,
upon us to be able to make that link back. Yeah.
wow. It's interesting, honestly. Because you then ask the
Mm.
question, how do you even problem solve, right? Because it's one thing to identify a problem, it's another thing to find a solution to it. And at this point, you have to admit that even that in itself is a skill, because finding solutions to problems,
Mhm.
they don't come easy, right? So if I'm hearing this kind of thing,
Yeah.
you then wonder how is it possible that a group a group of people sat down and then they have identified a problem, and that was a solution to the problem they identified. It makes no sense to me that that was a solution I mean, it just. So do you think Africa can actually I want to move from there. It's very interesting. So do you think Africa can actually move from underdeveloped to developed? I mean, in with all these things we've talked
Mm,
about, is that something you think is possible?
yeah, it's very much possible. It's very possible, but we have to stop importing solutions. What works for Europe or the US will not necessarily work for Kenya, for example, or for Africa. I know, for example, for the environmental policy, it's well intentioned. It's very timely. Personally, I hate seeing waste, how much waste we produce,
Yeah,
and the lack of proper responsibility. I know it's well intentioned, but it's clearly copied and pasted from the EU. Um, but the implementation, the way they implemented it, is way more different than the way we are trying to implement it. In the EU, or for example, like in Sweden, they
yeah,
built the infrastructure first, then the compliance came second. But for us, we want compliance without the infrastructure. So it clearly shows we are just importing solutions and not contextualizing. Um, it's okay to import, but let's import
yeah,
and contextualize, not just copy paste. No, no. So it can move from underdeveloped, or rather developing. I don't think Africa is underdeveloped. We are developing. So it can move from developing to developed if we
yeah.
stop, yeah, if we stop importing solutions, and if we can really fight this giant that eating us from the bones, from the in out, which is called corruption. I know corruption exists everywhere, but I think for Africans, we've resigned to it. It's a way of life. So if we can perhaps minimize it or manage it, find a way of managing it. I think it would be too ambitious to say get rid of it entirely. I don't think that's really possible. But if it can be managed, or at least be corrupt
Mm,
but ensure, the common citizens are also benefiting from that money. Let's see proper infrastructure, hospitals working for us, the education system working for us. Yeah, that way we'll be able to move from developing to developed very fast. So it's possible. We just need to change our ways. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, is I'm glad you mentioned the EU because the EU they found a way to bring all those countries together so they can work towards a common goal. But when we talk about the African Union, for example, like what you just mentioned, importing solutions. So they saw the European Union and then they too African Union. Okay, now where's the work of the African
Mm.
Union? We're still trying to find it.
Right?
So what do you think is then stopping African countries? What do you think is stopping African countries from uniting with each other?
Mm. I think number one, um, how many things come to mind? I think three things come to mind. The first one is this colonial border. Eh, we've taken them so seriously. We've taken them so seriously. These colonial borders are standing in our way as Africans. We talk Pan African, but our systems are very national. We talk about when
Mhm.
I say that, for example, yeah, we talk Pan African, but our systems are national. For example, yeah, let's say the AfCFTA, the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, that's meant to make movement of services and goods easier within Africa. Man, it's been there since 2019 and implemented in 2021. It's 5 years, but why am I still not able to move, goods from Rwanda to Kenya or from Kenya to Rwanda? Like, we say Pan African, but no, our national systems are getting in the way. So I don't see a lot of Pan Africanism in our system. So the colonial borders are standing in our way. There is also the trust gap that makes it difficult for for us to unite. um, See, for example, what happened to Gaddafi. Everyone was he wants to be the president of Africa. We cannot have that. I mean, why not? If it's going to improve our situation as Africans, why not? You know, we don't trust each other. Look at Kenya. We are always like, Kenya is the capital of
Yeah.
Africa, or we should have one president in East Africa, or one currency. Even just the currency cannot be one. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kenyans we are like, our currency is performing higher. There's absolutely no way we can have the same currency as Uganda. Yeah, things like that. So the trust gap, it's not working in our favor. Finally, I think policy misalignment is also stopping our unity. Um, I think policymakers need to compare notes. If we really want unity, they need to compare notes so that one policy in Nigeria is not
Yeah. Yeah.
canceling out another policy in Senegal, or a Burkina Faso policy is not canceling
Yeah.
a policy in Kenya, making it
Oh,
different for that cross interaction. Yeah.
wow. I like that last point. I've never thought of that. So we'll make a policy here in Nigeria, and then when we're trying to interact with each other, one policy is canceling another policy in Senegal, and then you hit a roadblock.
Hmm.
Hmm. That's actually very interesting.
Yeah, simply because your
I've
policies
never
are
thought
not
about it.
aligned.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yes. 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 Oof,
And we need the
that's
African Union to
nice. Nice.
be
That's a very good
to be
point.
more
That's a very
involved and active. Yeah.
To be honest, I
Sorry.
don't even know what those people are doing. I'm sure they are working. I just see their work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been talking about like a is it this currency stuff you mentioned now? It is harder to move money within Africa than move money outside of Africa or take money into Africa. It just does not make sense, right? And they've been talking about like building this, building that, so that you move money across. They talk about it, they just never build it. And then if somebody wakes up today as an entrepreneur to say that I'm building this for Africa, you guys stifle him or stifle her, and you're wondering, okay, so how do we then make this work? There's so much we need to do. So let's rounding up now. What's okay? I think you've touched on it, but if you can just like maybe say a few more things, like what's the impact of the government on the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Kenya? Because like you said, you guys have the hustle mentality. In Nigeria here, I mean, the little that I know, I can tell you the government is not helping the entrepreneurs, right? So I don't know how about Kenya. What's their impact on the ecosystem over there?
Oh, yo, I can't really, I can't really say, in Kenya that's happening. Uh, we share that with Nigeria. Because if that was happening, I wouldn't be thinking of, I thought of this several times of moving my headquarters of Vayana Handmade to Rwanda, because every year there's something new that, oh my God, every year, there's something new all the time that makes it difficult for you to continue doing business in the country. And don't get me wrong, I think the policies again are well intentioned. The policies are well intentioned, but the infrastructure or the preparation to make it a reality is where I think the link is broken. Um, so no, um, majority of the policies, yeah, that's why we've seen a lot of capital flight of both small and big enterprises from
Mm.
Kenya. And guess where they're going? They're going to Rwanda. They're going to Rwanda. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, I'm not sure what the end goal. I'm not sure what the end goal is, but I wish small businesses were given a chance, a better chance to thrive. Because if a small business thrives or manages to be in business for 10 years, I mean, we are adding value to the economy. We are adding value to our own economy. So
Mm-hmm.
squeezing small enterprises out of an economy, I'm not very sure is the right way to go. I hope things can change. Yeah. Again, Rwanda is where I see a lot of government support and government policies actually support both large and small enterprises.
So what's the best way to change this mindset that we have as Africans? What do you think is the best way to change it?
Storytelling plays a major part, and what you're doing, kudos to what you're doing, because you're helping tell authentic African stories. So storytelling, us telling our own stories and being honest about them, um, is if not a major factor, to me I think it's the only factor. We've had people from outside come and tell our stories on our behalf, and we applaud them. Yay! And most of the time, it's not even true. Otherwise, why
Mm-hmm.
would the rest of the world still be thinking that Africa is a country in 2026? A grown person saying Africa is a country, and yeah, a lot of times they're not even to blame. It's the story that they've been told. Someone came, told a story that's
Mm-hmm.
not even ours. Very unfortunate. So we need to keep telling our stories, tell them authentically, tell them honestly. And for anyone listening or seeing this who was thinking Africa is a country, no, we are 54 countries. Please. If you're an African listening to this or watching this, please, um, let's amplify our voices, our authentic voices, and tell our own stories instead of
Mm.
letting people from other continents come in and tell them on our behalf. Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you describe the true state of Africa today?
The state of Africa today, mm, it Africa is in transition. Yeah, Africa is in transition. We are
Hmm.
trying as much. Pardon? Sorry. Uh,
No, no, I was just that answer really that's really good.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, so I'm saying Africa is in transition. We are in the process of getting ourselves from point A to point B, and thanks to our resilience, I know we are gonna get to point B.
What gives you hope about Africa? What makes you think that we'll be able to achieve what you know we can achieve?
Uh, I think it's the young population. I see a different kind of a younger population of the youth, the determination. Young people are not afraid to speak truth to power anymore. Um, and I see them consistently pushing back, refusing to continue to operate in systems that are broken. That gives me a lot of hope. That gives me a lot of hope.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I hope the young Africa's young population doesn't lose hope and continues to push back, to demand for accountability, to demand uh, actually to create tables instead of to demand to have a seat at the table. Let's create those tables. Yeah, it gives me a lot of hope to see that kind of engagement within the young population. Yeah, it's amazing. I know in 10 years time, hopefully less, uh we might be telling a different story altogether. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Mm. I mean, that's the hope all of us have about Africa, because we have the youngest population, we have the fastest growing population. We have, I mean, Africa is on top of most metrics except development. So hopefully
Yeah.
we can catch up with, not even catch up with the rest of the world, just overtake them, just based on the resources we have, intellectual, natural, everything. Right. So it's up to us to make use of that and take advantage of that. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you so much, Grace, for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So where
My
can people
pleasure.
find your
It was
work?
fun
Where
actually,
can
way
they
more than I
connect with
expected.
you?
Pardon, how can people find my work?
Yeah, where can people connect with you?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn, Grace Usenge. Usenge is Ussenge. LinkedIn, I think, is where most of my activity can be found, or on my website, Grace Usenge, which is one word,
Okay.
.co.ke. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Looking forward to connect on those
Okay.
platforms as well.
So once again, thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for doing this with me. I really appreciate you coming on, and we hope for a better future. And thank you. Bye.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.